Hi, I'm Jared.
And I'm Ebony, and this is his.
And hers, 40K.
Yay!
Yay! In our first episode, we'll be discussing Angels of Caliban, the 38th Horus Heresy book.
Nerd fact. Nerd fact.
So I read it about a year ago. Ebony here just finished it
last week.
So we'll see what's in our memory and what
isn't in our memory.
What parts we like and what parts, sort of fell out of that memory.
That doesn't mean I don't like it when I forget. That's not true. Usually I forget the parts I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Or I remember them strongly with hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the Ebony overview?
Sure.
Okay. So Angels of Caliban is about the Dark Angels and their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, and things that are happening on Caliban, which is the Dark Angels' homeworld, and things that are happening on Macragge, which is the new site of the Imperium Secundus, or the Second Empire, which may or may not be a bad choice for the Primarchs involved. And the Ebony synopsis is that a lot of things happen on Caliban, and the best things happen on Macragge.
And I completely disagree. I consider Angels of Caliban 50% a good book. All of the Caliban parts are quite interesting and do a great job fleshing out what was previously really a sort of eclectic legion in the form of the Dark Angels. Whereas on Macragge, we sort of just have more Primarchs being Primarchs, and we kind of got a lot of that already in Unremembered Empire.
I feel like you don't get enough Primarchs being Primarchs, and I like it.
That's all the Horus Heresy has been.
Yeah, but it's Dark Angels being mysterious Dark Angels. Like, they're not doing anything. It's like, person whose name ends in "an" is mysterious. Other person whose name ends in "an" is mysterious. Luther is the most mysterious of all, and no one knows who Lord Cypher is. That is the whole story of Caliban.
A big part of that is because all the rest of us who read the codexes are familiar with how the story of Caliban ends.
Okay.
So knowing that, and really knowing the whole Horus Heresy story, how it begins, how it ends, there's a lot of small details that are never brought up, or they're sort of just glossed over, that the reader is sort of expected to know. Because in 40K lore, that's just common knowledge.
Yeah, but that makes it bad standalone novel.
You're right. And generally, the 38th book in a series is not a great standalone novel.
Fine, but I feel like if your series has more than 10 books, you have to start expecting them to work well as standalone novels. And the entire Caliban story doesn't work well for me as a standalone novel. There is the really cool murder scene in the hall with the goblets. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
All the spoilers.
Yeah.
There will never be non-spoilers. Yep.
Yeah. So that assassination James Bond-esque dinner intrigue scene is really cool. But for me, it's like those guys killed those guys, and that guy doesn't like this guy, and he killed those guys. I'm not sure why they don't like those guys. Who is this guy who came from space? I never heard of him before, but we don't trust him. Bye.
So
that's it.
The characters that you're referring to, Luther, Astalan, Zahariel, and Balath, yeah.
And then minor characters whose names end in "an."
Yeah, but most of the others don't matter so much.
Okay.
Unless they're Redloss, who is...
Oh, I like that guy. And Holguin. But
Yep.
aren't they on Macragge?
They are.
See? The interesting things happen on Macragge.
They are heads of the Deathwing and Dreadwing.
Which is pretty cool, but it only does cool stuff on Macragge. You don't get to see any of its cool stuff on Caliban.
Technically, it doesn't have any of its cool stuff on Macragge either.
No, don't they use the Deathwing to knock down the town that they're not supposed to be knocking down according to Sanguinius? The Lion is we're not going to do an orbital bombardment, but we are going to do an orbital bombardment and screw all these people.
You're skipping ahead to when the Dreadwing attacked.
Yeah.
Against the Word Bearers and the World Eaters. Remember when they were chasing after Conrad Kurz, but on a completely different planet?
No, but weren't they chasing after Conrad Kurz on Macragge?
Right. That was later.
Okay.
They were first, no one knew where the Lion was. He was out among Greater Ultramar.
Okay.
Just sort of figuring out where Kurz could be.
Right, and there was like a statue of bones, and all the people died, and the people were sad because, like, Space Marines suck. They just came here, had a war, screwed up our whole planet, and they're like, here's some sandwiches, bye.
Essentially, I mean, that's the Lion in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He's on a quest. He doesn't really care about anything else outside.
Yeah, the Lion is kind of a douchebag.
Yes.
That's what I got from
yeah. The reader knows the Lion's a douchebag. His brothers know the Lion is a douchebag. And as you see on Caliban, a good chunk of his legion thinks he's a douchebag too.
Got it. Okay.
And that's sort of a running theme of the Lion.
I mean, he is blonde. And you can't trust those blondes.
I mean...
Is he blonde? I feel like he's blonde on the cover of books, but it's weird. It looks weird.
So it's because he's blonde. He has long blonde hair, but he has black facial hair.
Yeah, that's super weird.
Yeah. It's like a black goatee.
It's like a 1992 MTV, like, white rapper. That's what it sounds like. Which implies douchebag inherently.
For that.
It's like inherently implies douchebag. Yeah, I can see it. Also, I have to say that in my head, Lionel Johnson is black.
I know.
He's like a black man who hasn't been gained.
That's because you still think his name is Lionel, which it isn't.
Like, even if it was Lion L. Johnson, he would still be black.
No. That's
also,
not the thing.
Primarchs are found on their homeworlds, right?
Yes.
So the Lion was found on Caliban. Everyone on Caliban is named like blank Ann. Why is he named Lion L. Johnson?
Oh, that's because that's who he was raised by.
I thought he was raised by Luther.
No. He was raised in the woods and then found by Luther.
Okay.
Luther's last name, I believe, is L. Johnson.
Really?
I think that's the family name.
No one ever calls him Sir L. Johnson. Wow, that's weird. No one should say that out loud either. Sir L. Johnson. Okay.
I think. I might be wrong on that one.
I don't know what Luther's last... I thought Luther's last name was Luther.
No.
Like, I didn't assume that was his first name, because he's always called, like, Tsar Luther, and I thought it was, like, Mr. Luther.
No.
But Tsar is, like, a Calibanite honorific.
Right. It's like any of the Knights of the Round Table.
Right.
Like
Sir.
Gawain. Like, you say it's Sir, their first name.
Are you sure? I always thought it was Sir, their last name.
It is definitely not, because their last name is whatever house or family or...
Fair.
Kingdom that they, like, lineage that they come from.
Fair. All right. Lion L. Johnson.
What other pieces happen in this? There is Zahariel being taken by the Ouroboros.
People on Caliban, Zahariel is my favorite, but I feel like I never heard of him before this book, and I don't, like, nothing that happens to him makes me super invested in the outcome of his story.
Ebony, the entire first Dark Angels book is from his perspective.
Did I read that book?
Yes.
Okay. Well, clearly I didn't think it was important.
If you recall, which you don't, Zahariel had a cousin, Namiel.
So I know that he has a cousin because in this book, Bilath shows up and is like, by the way, the Lion's a douchebag and he killed your cousin, and Zahariel, like, loses all of his shit.
Yeah. So the entire first book, which I think was called Descent of Angels.
I feel like that sounds like a title of a book I've
read. And it is. And in fact, it's got the scene that you love most in almost all of the Horus Heresy.
What scene is that?
Planet of the Masks.
I don't know that I love that the most. Sarash?
Yeah.
And are the White Scars involved?
No.
I feel like they are.
I mean...
I feel like they're there and they're leaving and the Dark Angels are taking over.
Yeah, like Sarash was originally claimed by the White Scars.
Right, and it's super spooky and everyone wears a mask of happiness. It's weird and there's a chaos cult.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like my clearest memory of that book is Sarash, and that's it. Like, that's the most impactful part of that book for me.
The whole perspective of Descent of Angels is Zahariel and Namiel growing into the Legion from, like, recruits, going on their training, becoming Space Marines, learning, like, all of the ways of the Order.
That sounds really boring. That's why I forgot all of that part.
And then the Imperium shows up.
Right. And they go to Sarash.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like all that beginning stuff sounds super boring, and that's why I forgot it. I guess I have to admit right now that I prioritize information in my brain based on how important I think it is, and if I don't think it's important, it gets forgotten. And so whole books might have been forgotten.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, quite a few of them.
I just feel like if it's super important, make it read that way to me.
That's generally not how it works, though.
That's how it works in writing novels.
Right, novels. Novels don't come with codexes.
These
that
are novels.
Detail all of the important elements.
Yeah, but you can't expect people who don't read codexes to pick up a Warhammer book and be super enthralled when you're like Zahariel showed up by. Like
bad example, because Zahariel had a whole book for himself
but
in
like,
that series.
Even in other famous series books, granted they're not 40 books long, but like even in like Harry Potter, you know things about the Weasleys, and in new books when they go back home to the Weasley farm, they're like, Mrs. Weasley was so sweet and blah blah blah. You need a little bit of something.
Right.
But I feel like in like 40K, they're just like, and ex-Space Marine showed up and he was really grumpy and he had a yellow sash on. The end. And like that is supposed to immediately tell you that it's
there's a mix. There's a mix of elements there. One is a lot of the important elements are sometimes written by a different author, which is one way that they can be lost. Another is some familiarity with the Legion structure. Like, for instance, I believe, I can't recall his name, but he was the chosen lieutenant for the Fire Wing.
Okay.
And he was in the dinner scene where they were assigning all of the cups to people.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So something that would be known and apparently was discussed multiple times are the different wings of the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
You know, the hexagrammaton. Right.
Yeah.
And from that, you've got the Death Wing, the Dread Wing, the Fire Wing, the Iron Wing.
Oh, I think it's Balath. Balath is the leader of some
Was
wing.
Balath?
I think so. Yeah, because like they're super excited to see him. They have that fake party, and it's because they're like welcome home leader of something.
Right. Because Balath was originally with Corswain. Right.
Yeah, who I've never met to my knowledge, but is apparently important.
Yes.
Other book.
Yep.
Yeah, that book seemed like it was useless.
No, Corswain was not in that book. Corswain was in Savage Weapons.
I've never read that book.
Yes, you did, because I read it to you. Savage Weapons was when the Lion finally parlays with Kurz during the Thramus Crusade. That's how he first gets him captured. They have a big fight. There's Corswain on one side and Zhao Sahal on the other side.
I've never heard that second name, and sure, I have no memory of this event. I know that at one point the Lion had captured Kurz, and I feel like I also thought at one point maybe Vulcan had captured Kurz. Let me tell you what I think about Conrad Kurz. He gets captured a lot, and then he escapes a lot, and he smells bad and is kind of spoopy. Like he's
you're not wrong. Like none of those things are incorrect.
He's got pointy teeth. He smells bad. He could really use a visit to a hair salon, and he's kind of creepy. But he gets captured a lot and uncaptured, and is always like. When I picture him in my mind, he's like in tunnels, crawling like a rat with sharp claws.
Not exactly.
But is also dangerous.
No.
No. He's just like always under something, in something, hidden from someone. Like it's always that.
I mean, he is on the run a lot, and a big part of that was the background leading into all of this was the Thramus Crusade, which was a whole campaign in which the Dark Angels were playing cat and mouse with the Night Lords, and for the first chunk of it, the Night Lords were just escaping them and could just tag them all over the place. But then the Lion finds a particular Xenos AI. Right. Yeah, I can't pronounce it either. But I know what you're talking about. Right.
I think.
Which lets him basically teleport around
anywhere.
Almost anywhere.
Yeah. But that's also a secret because Sanguinius and
no one knows
about
Gilliman
know about this. So I guess I have a spoiler alert question: Is the Dark Angels Legion bad? Is it good? Or are they not important as they are in my mind?
The Dark Angels have their whole separate arc.
Okay.
And if you're interested in the Siege of Terra, they play no part in that.
Well, then they're not important.
Okay.
Because, like, I really want to know what happens on Terra. I feel like 40 books in, and I haven't gotten to the point of the story yet, so, like, let's get there.
She's reading Praetorian of Dorn now. I'm excited to have that as our next
Thing.
podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
I am 6 pages in, so, you know.
That's okay.
No pressure. See you in a week.
Yep. Anyway, what else happened in this book?
A lot of the Lion being a douchebag. A lot of, like, Gilliman whining.
Yeah.
He does a lot of whining.
Well, so Gilliman...
It's, like, noble whining, but it's still, like, a lot of whining.
Gilliman wants Imperium Secundus to be something meaningful.
Right. But it's not.
But at the same time,
Imperium still exists.
I don't think he fully can give up control the way he says he wants to give up
Well, I
control.
think that, like, the statesman in him is like, you can't just appoint yourself leader of the shit, because that looks bad.
Right.
And the Lion is a crazy man who we can't trust, who has a secret AI baby, so, like, he can't be the leader. And they only have the 3 of them to choose from, and so that leaves you with, like, super goth Sanguinius as the leader of the Imperium. So and he's just, like, sad with wings all the time.
So you haven't read it yet. But there's a short story called Herald of Sanguinius, which takes place like in between this when Imperium Secundus is just operating.
Okay.
In which Sanguinius is just flooded by people wanting his attention, like with requests and with, wanting to know what's his decision on all sorts of different things. And he amounts to, I can't deal with this shit. And he just flies off. And while he's gone, he approves of a new position called the Herald of Sanguinius, which is it goes by another name, which won't mean anything to you, but in modern 40k is really significant, called the Sanguinor.
Okay.
And so spoilers for that short story as well.
Spoiler alert!
All the spoilers.
Spoiler alert! That'll be my job. Let's just yell spoiler alert.
Great, okay.
Got it.
So... it's basically designed to be a blood angel who will sit on the throne of Imperium Secundus in his place.
Okay.
But the way it was built is a group of... lots were drawn from amongst a group of, like, high-ranking blood angels.
I'm going to have to pause and say that's a bad way to choose the Emperor. Just who drew the short straw?
Well, it's more than that.
Okay.
Because what ends up happening is... they get down to 2 individuals. It was basically like 10 people who were all considered capable of taking this position. Like, it's not just random people.
Okay.
And they narrow it down to 2. Those 2 go into a room and...
murder each other.
Kind of. The ritual becoming the Sanguinor involves burning a metal mask onto your face.
That seems like not something I would want.
You basically lose your identity. And the idea is whoever performs the ritual, like is the one who assists you in doing all of this, will then be killed by the one who completes it. I might have that a little wrong, but in the end, the idea is, of the 2, one has the ritual performed on them. The other one will die and will have their body permanently disposed of and burned. The idea is, of those 2 people, no one should know who was the one who actually ended up as the Sanguinor.
Why?
What do you mean? To protect the identity.
Why are we protecting their identity of the ruler?
Because the idea is you don't want any history associated with who the Sanguinor might have been.
Yeah, but you know which 2 went in there, so you know their history already. You're guessing which one it is.
But that can be, which one is it? It could be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're making political schemes, you make a contingency plan wherein it's one, or another plan wherein it's the other. Like...
It was basically just an attempt to have someone to act in Sanguinius's place while he goes off and is nebulous.
I feel like you should just appoint a person, and no one should burn a mask onto their face or murder their friends.
Nope.
So weird.
The lion
Angels.
The lion gets real pissed when he storms into the throne room, sees this guy sitting on the throne.
He's like, dude, who are you?
What is this nonsense?
That sounds like the lion would not be thrilled.
No. But that is the position of the Sanguinor.
Yeah, I mean, Sanguinius is not giving I want to be emperor vibes to anyone. He's
No.
like, whatever, do whatever you're doing. Maybe don't kill those people, but if you do,
Sanguinius is sort of in a weird position because on one hand, he is seen as the Primarch who most closely has the Emperor's aura. Like basically,
personality?
No, aura. As in, when you stand in his presence among all the Primarchs, you feel as similar as you would be if you were standing in the presence of the Emperor.
I mean, that might have something to do with the giant angel wings.
Even without that, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically his angelic visage and this sort of, it's psychic, essentially. And that Sanguinius was intended to, among all the Primarchs, to be an emperor replacement. Mm-hmm. In fact, Horace has said, I think it was in Fear to Tread, that Sanguinius should have been War Master instead. Mm-hmm. That Sanguinius was the number 2 position.
Yeah, but I feel like Sanguinius can't be War Master because he doesn't like to work. Like, he's kind of lazy. He's literally the worst emperor. He's like, whatever.
Part of that is because I don't think he never really believed in Imperium Secundus because his prophecies and his visions are that
the Emperor's alive.
The Emperor's alive, or that something is still going on.
Yeah, well, he could have argued that with Gilliman. He could I just feel like things happen to Sanguinius. He doesn't do things.
I would agree.
Yeah,
and that is a failing of almost the whole Horus Heresy series.
Okay. Yeah. Things just happen to Sanguinius, and he's like,
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of the vampire from Twilight. The sparkly one.
Stop it.
My life is hard.
Although one element that is technically fan theory, but it's based on I'm getting off track, of if you were to assign the Primarchs to one of the major arcana of the tarot, and you use sort of the tarot relations to sort of to connect them together,
right?
And try and interpret, if these 2 Primarchs interacted, what would it be like? One of the most interesting is Sanguinius and Kurz.
They interact,
right? But what if it was before? What if it was when they never were separated? What if all of them grew up on Terra with the Emperor?
Would they be cool?
Well, what the tarot says is Sanguinius would have been able to assist Kurz in understanding his visions of his own death and basically help him to come to terms with what that means. However, Sanguinius would never be able to bring himself to do this because in Kurz, he sees what he could become if he were to fall to the Red Thirst. Because the big thing on Sanguinius' mind is the Red Thirst.
Right. You just go full vampire.
Right. The bloodthirsty kind, not the sparkly kind.
Right. I just, I don't know. I want to like Sanguinius as a character, but I feel like whenever he's on screen, things are just happening to him. He's not making things happen. And, he gets very boring very quickly.
Of all the Primarchs, Sanguinius is one where I find his Legion far more interesting than him. There's a lot of stuff with the Blood Angels Legion. Doesn't really show in this book.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really know a lot about the Blood Angels.
No.
I know about that time they had a demon in a tent on a planet that might have been being under compliance, and Horace was there to just pull me closer.
Yes, because you keep falling out of shot. Now you're not in the shot at all.
No, there was a scene on a planet with the Blood Angels, and Horace was there, and maybe someone made a demon in a tent.
It wasn't a demon. It was a Blood Angel who had fallen to the Red Thirst.
And he was chained to a thing inside a tent, and Horace was like, yeah, that's weird.
Yep.
And Sanguinius was like, dude, I know. And then they compliance the planet.
Yep.
Together?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the opening chapter to Fear to Tread.
That's weird because that is the thing I remember about that book. What's the rest of that book about?
Cygnus. The Blood Angels go to Cygnus, which is a giant chaos trap. There's a bunch of planets that sort of come alive. Demonic ritual occurs. They end up fighting against huge demon swarms on Cygnus Prime. A whole bunch of blood angels fall to the Red Thirst.
Are they inside caverns or caves?
No.
And like large demons come out of them?
Well, yes and no. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Demons. Are we still on track with Angels of Caliban?
Only one demon appears in this one, I think.
There's a demon in Angels of Caliban?
Ouroboros. Right.
And maybe the Watchers. Because they could be demons. No one knows what they are.
So the Watchers...
What are the Watchers?
That's a good question. They're probably a Xeno species.
Okay.
They may or may not have the same sort of future sight vision stuff as the Cabal.
Okay.
But I don't think they were a part of the Cabal. But from what we understand, they basically guard the Ouroboros from escaping.
And what the heck is the Ouroboros?
We believe it is a giant Nurgle demon.
But Zahariel thinks it's like the spirit of Caliban, and he's trying to free it from the Watchers.
Yeah.
Which is not at all what's happening.
No.
I mean, he could be right, and we could be wrong. What do we know about Chaos?
That it's horribly corrupting and manipulative?
Yeah, but so is the Emperor. So, like...
Touche. Yes, you are not wrong about that.
What if everything Zahariel thinks about what's happening on Caliban with the Ouroboros is correct, and the Watchers are bad, and we should be letting the Ouroboros free?
In which case, there's some very interesting theories related to that in modern 40K. But it requires knowing what happens to Caliban.
I don't know what happens to Caliban.
I know. What else happened in this? Well, as you said, there was the Lion bombing a sort of rebellious region
full of people. Which is a douche move.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just was like, I need to get Conrad Kurz, and these people suck. And to be fair, I guess Gilliman had been dealing with that uprising for years and years, and like taking care of it politically, which is to say, not at all.
Now, if I recall, Gilliman went and like spoke with his mom about what to do about the lion.
Yeah, and her advice is very mysterious. She's like, be prepared.
Well, no, that's because that's what the Ultramar philosophy is. Like,
so there's always Boy Scouts on Ultramar.
Yes.
Okay.
That is so. A little bit of pop culture. That's basically what Ultramarines are always referred to as.
I mean, I'm a Boy Scout, so I get it. You should be prepared. Yeah. But like, that's not what he was asking her. I feel like he wanted to know. Like,
no, but a piece of that she also said was sort of stick to your role.
Yeah.
You know, you are the new regent. You are what Malkador would be.
Yeah.
You are not the War Master.
Yeah.
You know, let Lion be the War Master.
Yeah, but he sucks at it. And also he's like murdering McCragians. What do you call people who live on McCrag?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
McCragians?
I think.
It sounds like Irish pirates.
I mean, it's better than McCragites.
Yes, it is. All right, McCragians. Yeah, he's just like, is it Illyria? Is that the name of the place? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to just drop phosphex on Illyria and murder all of these people. Which, they are rebels, and like, depending on how you feel about rebels, maybe murder them. But they are Gilliman's people. And
well, so Lion had a rebut to that.
Which is they're not your people anymore. They're the people of the Empire.
Right. They're the people
which
of
makes
Imperium
them
Secundus.
Sanguinius' people, but Sanguinius doesn't care. So like,
pretty much,
he's the worst emperor. He's worse than the actual emperor who doesn't care.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, the actual emperor is pretty bad, but like,
the actual emperor's a little busy.
Right, he's bad and he doesn't care because he's busy, but I feel like Sanguinius doesn't care the way like a 17-year-old goth doesn't care. Like, you're not busy, you're not doing anything, you're just like in your room laying down in the dark.
He's dealing with the visions.
Oh, okay.
You know, the visions of his own death.
Yeah, but he's been dealing with the visions his whole life. Get over it. Suck it up. You're a supreme being.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell that to Kurz.
He's the worst supreme being. But like, yeah, Sanguinius is such a shit emperor. I don't know why we chose him. I would have chosen Gilliman, but I get why you can't choose yourself to be the emperor.
I mean, to be fair, if you remember the cover of Unremembered Empire, is Gilliman holding up like Sanguinius's arm as like the new emperor, and he's like, I don't care. I don't want this. I guess I have to, but this sucks.
Aww.
Like it was drawn very much like that.
So like the lion destroys all these people in Illyria to get to Kurz, but then he like has a reversal of douche in the middle of this capturing Kurz, because like they have a big fight, it's cool, Primarchs are fighting, it's a cave, and he breaks his back, and they like carry him out, and Kurz is being a loony and laughing, and then like he gets him to Gilliman and Sanguinius, and they're like, we have to kill him because he's going to kill Sanguinius. And the lion's like, yeah, we should kill him. And then like kick him out for bombing Illyria because obviously...
Well, they have a trial.
Right. But Kurz reveals at the trial, also, this guy dropped Phosphex on all your peeps.
Yeah.
And they're not down with it, so they kick him out. But then he comes back because he's like, but the Emperor is alive because Kurz told me these things. And then Kurz laughs because they are all confused. Like... And then it just ends, and I feel like, did you have a change? Like, you just had a reversal of douche because he wanted to kill him.
Because what he realized is, if all Kurz 100% believes in his own visions of the future,
that like he's not killed by these three,
but his visions of the future are that the Emperor will kill him.
Yeah,
but that requires that the Emperor is still alive.
Yes,
and that's why the lion is like, wait, then that you wouldn't be focused so much on this if you weren't 100% sure that the Emperor is still alive.
Right, but then that makes Sanguinius believe that his visions of the future are also true and he's going to get killed.
Yes.
And so he goes back to sulking.
Yep.
He does a lot of sulking. A lot.
So he didn't used to do that.
No?
No. Cygnus kind of took a lot out of him.
I can't remember Sanguinius being fun. I feel like Horus is the most fun.
Oh, no. It's so far, it's not really in any of the Horus Heresy books. It's in the Forge World Black books, which, like, go into a lot of detail of the background of the Blood Angels. And pretty much, it goes into the incredible background on every legion except the Dark Angels.
Because nobody likes them.
No, at this point, just except the Dark Angels. Oh. Because they're the only ones who haven't had a Forge World Black book yet.
Because they're boring.
That's not why. They're actually I think they're super interested. Like the Legion. I don't give a fuck about the Lion, though.
He's super boring, too. I don't know.
Anything else?
We have to talk about the end.
Oh, right, the ending.
Yeah, also Zahariel is Lord Cypher.
Right.
Because he murdered Lord Cypher. We still never figured out who it was. Zahariel knew who it was.
I think there are some details, and I remember reading some theories, people working out like who it is.
Okay.
It was not a character that I recall or cared about. Okay. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Right. So now Zahariel is Lord Cypher, and Luther and Astalan may have strong-armed his way into Luther trusting him. So now... And then Luther makes Zahariel Lord Cypher, so they trust each other. Trust is a relative word. They should not trust each other, because I don't know what Luther wants. I think he just wants to rule Caliban generally.
Luther wants an independent Caliban from the Imperium.
And from the Lion. And Zahariel wants to free the Ouroboros, which is probably going to eat Caliban.
And everything else.
Yeah, and Astalan hates the Calibans.
Right.
Hates Calibanites.
Astalan wants to return the Dark Angels to the First Legion.
Okay.
Like back when they were fighting during, the War of Unification, before there were Primarchs.
Right. He's not down with any of this.
Yeah.
So none of them want the same thing, but now they're a team because I think while Luther was inadvertently killing Belath, Astalan took over Belath's ship with like a crew of pirates, for lack of a better word.
No, you're not wrong.
And it used to be his ship, so now he's excited to have it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luther's like, hey, you can't be doing this. I didn't tell you to do this. And Astalan's like, yeah, but I have a ship, so I'll shoot you.
Yep.
And Luther's like, I guess we're friends. Let's go take over a planet, maybe. And then that planet is Zerimund.
Uh-huh.
And that's a big deal that they don't tell you about at the end of the book because they set it up for you at the beginning of the book. Right?
Yep.
And the big deal is, it's super close to Terra.
Yep. Zerimund is within, 1 or 2 warp jumps away from Terra.
And Typhon is there from the Death Guard.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Because originally, Typhon was very close friends to Luther.
Right, because in the opening scene, it's like before the lion like shits on Luther and sends him back to Caliban
Yep.
for banishment, it is that Horus asks the Death Guard and the Dark Angels to help him like maintain control over Zariman for the Imperium.
Yep.
But basically for Horus is my guess. And
well, at that point, Horus wasn't traitorous at all.
So it's friend times.
Erebus hadn't even been assigned to.
But Erebus is there.
He's there, but he's like, I have information. Like, he's just starting to corrupt Horus.
Okay. So they're all there, and Typhon and Luther are good friends.
Yep.
Right? And now Typhon is bad, so when Luther shows up at Zariman, Typhon is going to make sure he stays that way. And then everyone's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know how Typhon and Zahariel are going to get along. Probably not well.
It depends, because if the Ouroboros is a Nurgle demon, then I think they're going to get along very well.
Ah, okay.
Because Typhon, bit of spoiler, I have not read The Buried Dagger, which is the book of how the Death Guard finally fall to chaos. But I do know Typhon is the key player who is like the original Nurgle worshipper.
So then they could get along very well. Is The Buried Dagger a good book?
Haven't read it. I've heard it is okay. And the main reason is because 50% of it is about the fall of the Death Guard, and the other 50% is about the Knights Errant.
Oh, I like them, right? Aren't those the guys that Malkador, like,
Yep.
congeals from the Broken Legions and others, and, like, they go on mysterious spy missions?
Who is one of, well, there are really two. Who are the two most famous Knights Errant?
What's-his-face, who escaped from my favorite Legion.
No. No, actually.
No. The dude on the Eisenstein.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Loken. Garviel Loken?
Loken was not on the Eisenstein, but he's one of them.
Right. Well, he wasn't on it. His friend, whose name I want to say starts with an N and is a kind of old guy, was on it. Right? Like, flying it. And that weird prophet lady, Mercedes something, who Malkador might have done something weird with her brain later. Yeah. The only one I can think of is Loken.
Nathaniel Garrow.
Oh, I think that's the person who I thought was driving the Eisenstein, but that's incorrect.
No. Like, he was on the Eisenstein.
Okay.
But there was also, what was his name? The Half-Herd? Right.
It's got, like, letters in it that make me think he should be, like, an ancient Mayan.
I'm forgetting the name.
You know what I'm thinking? Yeah. It's, like, got Q's and X's in it.
Yeah, weirdly. I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like the Knights Errant stuff. I think it's cool.
Now, what legion is Garrow originally from?
Horus's.
No.
I don't know.
The Death Guard.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. If you say so.
The Eisenstein, I believe, is a Death Guard ship.
Is it? But didn't it come off of the Emperor's children's ship?
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I might be wrong about that. I don't remember who had the Eisenstein originally, but Garrow...
I thought it came off of Pride of the Emperor. Because, like, Mercedes, what's her fate? Like, all of that is on the Pride of the Emperor, right? On Fulgrim's ship.
So these are details that I'm forgetting because they're from, like, the first 3 books.
I feel like those are the books that were the best for me. And then the middle ones were like, meh.
For a lot of people, that's very true.
And now I'm just like, please get to Terra.
Yeah. Congratulations. You are literally every Horus Heresy fan.
Just get there. Like, well, because it's like, you know the end. Like, you know the Imperium isn't over. So you know there's going to be a big fight. It's going to be cool. And clearly we're going to quash Horus because he's not a thing in the future. So, like...
Or is he?
Not that I'm aware of.
He's not.
Yeah, he's not a thing, which means the Emperor is going to kill him. So, like, can we just get there?
I mean, I suppose...
All right, welcome to Zariman. That's the end.
That's the ending, yeah.
All right. What's next on our list?
Praetorian of Dorn.
Dorn.
Yeah, that'll be the next one, which will give you, I want to say, your first taste of Terra during the Horus Heresy.
No, I read that book where they were, like, digging Eldar tunnels underneath.
Oh, right, you read Master of Mankind.
Which I thought was really great.
Yeah. That's sort of on Terra.
Okay.
It's more of like that's
Underneath.
under the Imperial
Yeah,
Palace.
yeah.
Praetorian of Dorn deals much more with the rest of Terra.
Okay. Yeah, the scene I read yesterday, there was like they were letting
Well,
ships in through locks.
We'll talk about that next time.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
I think that'll be the end. Bye.